was a bit too young for this, but it was called Fantasy Football. And it was two famous comedians called Frank Skinner and David Baddiel. You might know them because they were the people who wrote Three Lions, right? They wrote that song that became the anthem for England fans. And they had this show that was originally meant to be about fantasy football, but it basically just turned into comedians getting football people and random celebrities on TV and just taking the piss out of them and joking about football. It was the first time that I think in British TV they realised that there was a huge audience for football content. And these two comedians, so Frank Skinner is a West Bromwich Albion fan and David Baddiel is a Tottenham fan, and they're both, no, Chelsea, God, he will not forgive me for that. And they both are real football fans, right? And I think people felt that connection. But my favourite clip is they had this feature that was called Phoenix from the Flames, okay? And we're going to play the theme tune now because every English listener will be able to sing along to this theme tune. So here it is.
Phoenix from the Flames, Phoenix from the Flames, Phoenix.
Now, before we start, I don't want any jokes about me looking like Quasimodo.
And now, if that's not stuck in your head by the end of the day, there's something wrong with you. But this feature was...
That's a threat.
They would get ex-players on and recreate their goals or their famous moments in their career. So these were 40, 50-year-old, maybe 60-year-old players that they would then take to some non-league ground and say, you remember that hat trick against this team? Well, we're going to make you recreate it. But what they would do is often just take the piss out of the players. So they had players on like Eusebio. He came on and played the trombone before recreating his hat trick against North Korea in a non-league stadium. Yeah, it's insane, right? They had George Best come on, who punched David Baddiel in the face.
That's awesome, dude. I need to know about this show.
They also, like when players came on, they would surprise them and they would say, oh, we're going to recreate this really positive moment from your career. But then they would just stitch them up. So like David Seaman, they recreated the lob from Naeem. Battiston, they recreated the Schumacher tackle that left him unconscious in the World Cup. And one of my favourite ones, there's two ones that are incredible. So the first one is Ilunga Mwepu, right? Now, nobody's going to remember this guy, but anybody who's seen any TV show about the World Cup's greatest moments will remember the Zaire team. Do you remember the free kick? And one of the players just runs out of the wall and boots the ball away from the free kick before he can take it. Right?
Yeah, right.
They got that guy on to recreate that moment, and it's incredible. Like the best moments were always when the other players didn't speak English, because they didn't know the sense of humour, they didn't know who the comedians were, and they didn't know what the hell was going on. And they would just make them dress up. It was hilarious. But my favourite one is with Peter Beardsley. Now, Peter Beardsley was a great footballer, but he is not a great looking man, right? He speaks quite weird, and they got him on twice and made him dress up as Quasimodo before he played.
Oh, come on.
No, these clips are absolutely fantastic. And they look incredibly 90s because they are. It's 96, right? So I'm a bit too young to remember them first time, but I remember my dad showing them to me. My dad had the tapes in the house. And I go back every year and just watch these videos again. They are incredible. The George Best one and the Peter Beardsley ones make me laugh every time. They have Ronald Koeman on. They have some big players on as well.
Talking about recreating goals, Rory, I know that you're a big fan of the Italian show Quelli che il calcio, and they became super big in the 1990s because they were on national television, but they didn't have the rights to show actual footage of the games that were being played. So they just created a similar environment in the studio with comedians and stuff. They would commentate the games live, and when people scored goals, when a player would score a goal, there was this comedian, usually at like a field in the outskirts of a big city, either Milan or Rome, and there would be kids, and he would treat them like shit. He would be like, all right, recreate the goal. And these kids were fucking class. They were so good at recreating exactly how the goal had happened. And what was very funny is that the comedian never ever praised him. They were just like, all right, yeah, that was easy. Sometimes it was a bicycle kick and shit. It was just like, all right, and these are the kids that they don't really know what they're doing. But yeah, they recreated the goal, right? Line back to the studio. It was really, really funny.
This is the best idea I've ever seen on any football TV show.
It's
Getting
great,
kids to recreate the goals because you can't show the goals. How someone in England hasn't picked this up on Gillette Soccer Saturday yet blows my mind. It is the best idea I've ever seen. I love it.
And jokes aside, every time this comedian was like ripping on them for not being good, it was actually a huge praise because these kids were class. Like,
they've got to be half decent, right?
Then you would see them. Then you would see them later at night, and you were like, "Wow, those Roman kids really pulled that off." Like that was almost exactly what happened. All right, we are at one of my favorite ever videos on YouTube. We are moving into very Italian territory, late 90s, early 2000s. We're talking about a goalkeeper named Soviero, who was from Naples. He was very vocal, and he was known to be absolutely fucking batshit. In one game, at the end of the game, a few things happened. There is a penalty that is awarded for Venezia, but it's not really a penalty. And at that moment, the guy actually goes there to actually mediate between the ref and the players. Then something happens at the end of the game. And nobody knows what happened in his brain, but he just like runs toward the player, punches him in the face, and then both benches kind of get in the field. And there is a clip called the Soviero contro tutti, Soviero against everybody, because at this point he's a big dude and he's just punching left and right, whatever he can get, you know. And there is this dude that I think is from the security of the stadium that gets punched in the face 4 times and then walks away. But in this specific clip, there is an Italian comedian who has a show about football, and he gathered together a bunch of former footballers, and then he's like, Mr. Soviero, we've got a special clip to you. Unfortunately, we cannot play it in the background because the soundtrack is by Louis Armstrong, What a Wonderful World. But it's beautiful to see these slow motion replays of him punching everybody with this beautiful, pretty song playing in the background. The video editing is absolutely class. But I have a notable mention. This is Gennaro Gattuso. Back in the day when he was coaching in Greece, he was coaching Offi, Crete, and in this press conference, he absolutely loses it. We're going to play a bit of an extract of Gattuso speaking the most Italian English you could ever hear in your lifetime.
No, leave. Leave what? Leave what? It's too easy for me, leave. Every day, in the last 2 weeks, call me 5-6 president for change teams. No, me stay here. Because I work 12 hours a day. Me, my staff, you, the people who work in this...
Now, my favorite part about this is this one. I actually wrote it down. Me no finish the school. I no have paper for teacher. I have diploma for manager, and sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit.
Oh, Reno, yeah.
Dude, at the beginning of the NBA season, Russell Westbrook was not playing that well, and somebody from the NBA community tweeted this clip and said, was this man talking about Russell Westbrook? Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit. It's absolute class. But this is also a statement to Gattuso that since then has really calmed down, and he's actually a good, quiet manager on the sideline.
Now,
so good job, Gattuso.
Yeah, when I first saw that clip, I was like, "Oh God, he's going to be that type of manager, isn't he? That's just going to make a show of himself everywhere he goes." And but thankfully, he looks like he's really, really doing the job at Napoli. I love Reno, and it came up on our Twitter this week. Actually, people sharing stories about Reno and how Pirlo used to abuse him. Guys, you've got to look them up. These stories are incredible.
Yeah, and one final thing, guys, if you speak Italian or kind of understand it, please do watch. There are plenty of very good videos about managers like arguing with journalists live. There is an incredible reel of only Mourinho just like picking on journalists when he was coaching Inter. There are plenty of these videos. And then Gattuso is not the only Italian manager who lost his shit during the press conference. We remember Giovanni Trapattoni talking about a Bayern Munich player called Stronzo. And remember that stronzo in Italian means jerk, piece of shit. And he's like, this is not only about him, it's about other players too. Strunz. And this German is absolutely awful. And then Malesani, always in Greece, oh my God, with a conference interpreter taking notes next to him. And their point is just like, what is football? A fucking jungle? And he swears and he brings down God and the angels and the Virgin Mary. And this woman is just like, I don't know what to translate anymore. But yeah, plenty of funny material on YouTube.
This just reminds me, the only one we've had of that in England that I can remember is Joe Kinnear when he took over at Newcastle. And he's what they call an old-fashioned football man, right? A proper football man, which just is dialect for arsehole. But anyway, he comes into his first conference. He comes into his first conference and the press are saying to him, like, how have you got this job? Why are we like... And he just starts calling everyone an arsehole and swearing at everyone in the press conference straight at the journalist. It's unbelievable. You can definitely search that one out on YouTube as well. But this is us, guys. These were our favourite YouTube clips. And now we have to go to the answers of the timeline quiz. Tommy,
come on.
Do you think you're ready?
I think I am. Let's do it with no further ado.
Go for the final time. The final time.
Lineup,
go. And here we are. We are towards the end of the show, and it's time for the answers of the timeline up quiz. So, Tommy, do you need me to remind you of what the events were? Shall I take you through it one more time?
Duh. Please do.
Let's do it. So we have, in no particular order, the aforementioned Watford versus Leicester playoff drama. Then we have Chiellini scoring for Italy to beat Spain 2-0 in a major tournament. Thierry Henry rejoining Arsenal. I nearly gave the answer away. And Barcelona beating Juventus in a Champions League final. So, Tommy, talk us through your workings.
All right. Barcelona beating Juventus in a Champions League final. Guys, I'm going to give you a few seconds to think about it. And then I'm going to tell you that it was 2015. I am completely sure about this one because I was in the United States that summer. So, yeah, that was 2015. Then Italy beating Spain in a major tournament 2-0 with a goal by Chiellini. I want to say that it was at the EuroCup in 2016. If this is the correct answer, I was on Navigli in Milan. If you're familiar with the city, well, if you're not, I'm going to explain you what it is. It's like the rivers in the city, absolute scenes. People started swimming in the river. It was summer, it was hot, and it was a great feeling. And if I got it wrong, I'm going to bash myself over it.
You must have been drinking too much. No.
I don't know. But then the other two, wow. All right. Now this one, I will not give you the explanation because I will sound autistic for real. But I think that Thierry Henry scoring that goal for Arsenal, which we also mentioned in the clip, in the weekly topic. Very good job, Rory. You had a team.
Not just a pretty face, Tommy.
Yeah, right. And not a pretty haircut. Yeah. But I want to say that was 2014. I want to say that was, I remember it was January, guaranteed, because he came back during the winter transfer window, and I want to say that was 2014. So then the only one left that we have is that clip once again. Herzog, Titi, and I think that was the earliest one. That must have been. I was looking at the Leicester jerseys. They kind of look a bit older, but not that much. But I'm going to say that one is the first of these four events. So in order, that Watford Leicester game. Second one, I'm going to say Thierry Henry scores that goal, and then we've got Juventus losing in the Champions League final against Barcelona, and finally Chiellini scoring a goal in the 2-0 Italy win versus Spain.
2 out of 4, not bad, Tommy. You were halfway there. So
did I guess the years?
You got the years right for Barcelona and the Chiellini goal, 2015, 2016. Now I've been quite harsh here because all of these events are very, very close together. So Thierry Henry rejoined Arsenal in 2012.
All right,
That Watford Leicester game
earlier.
Yeah, that Watford-Leicester game was in 2013. Then Barcelona beat Juventus in 2015, and Chiellini scored in 2016. So 2 out of 4. Tommy, which game, I think I probably know which game you're going to try and go for, but which game would you like to guess the lineups for?
I'm going for Italy, Spain, 2016. And I'm not going to start from the goalkeeper like you did the last time, because I think that brings
that
bad
got
luck.
me 1 point, I'll have you know. It got me my only point, so I think it was quite a good tactic. Right, let me just...
All right.
It's not very professional, but let me just get the